Hi there, this is David and welcome to the top 10 best modern strategy RPGs. It seems like every time I turn around there's a new strategy RPG out there on the horizon, so I really wanted to go through and figure out what's the good ones versus what's the bad ones. And my first strategy RPG that I really played and loved was one of the best ones ever, Final Fantasy Tactics. So these games do have big shoes to fill. But first, before we do get started, let's have a word from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Wandering Sword, which just released today. I know that many of you have been looking forward to this ever since I covered the demo way back in February. This is a unique RPG experience, beautifully combining pixel art with the deep allure of ancient Chinese martial arts culture. Dive into the thrilling narrative of a young swordsman entangled in a massive feud while exploring an expansive world from bustling towns to picturesque landscapes, all illustrated through stunning pixel art. Form bonds with fellow martial artists, lend a helping hand to those in need, then hone a diverse array of martial arts skills and weaponry. In addition to this, the creators of Wandering Sword are giving away exclusive Steam keys to the full game, an opportunity that you do not want to miss. If you're as excited about this game as I am, simply head on over to the Wandering Sword Twitter page to join in on the excitement and stand a chance to play the game for free. You will find a link to their Twitter page in the video description below. So, can you step into your destiny and embark onto your path to become the legendary Usia master that you're destined to be? And now, with that, it is time for the top 10 best modern strategy RPGs. First up at number 10, Tactics Ogre Reborn, released for the PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. If it wasn't for this game, the strategy RPG genre as we know it today simply wouldn't exist. Square Enix basically took this game, simplified the mechanics a bit, and then wholesale adapted the main premise, and boom, we ended up getting Final Fantasy Tactics. So we actually have this old one to thank for that. Tactics Ogre tells an adult storyline filled with political intrigue, choices that actually matter, and a robust job system, and it's all done right. Just keep in mind though, that there are 3 different versions here, and each version is distinctly different. The original PlayStation version plays the most like Final Fantasy Tactics, the PSP version changes how you level up, and then the most modern one, the Reborn version, greatly increases the difficulty level and adds in a leveling cap. So just be wary of that and pick your poison before you set off to Valeria. Number 9. Symphony of War, the Nephilim Saga, released for the Nintendo Switch and PC. If you're a fan of strategy RPGs, especially old school Fire Emblems, then this will be right up your alley, because it's really Fire Emblem in all but name. Following the exploits of Devoa, an orphan street urchin turned army strategist, this is the story of a land scarred by warring empires, as well as dueling houses plunged into anarchy following the assassination of the Empress. Add to this the twist that you are actually accused of her death, and you've got the basis for a pretty compelling narrative. But here, you don't just control one character at a time, you actually control whole entire squads, and you've really got to regulate the morale level because the higher it is, the better that they'll all do in combat. And if you're able to actually lower your enemy's morale, then they'll just surrender on the spot without a fight, and you'll still gain all that delicious experience, and those POWs are even worth extra after the battle. Number 8. The Geofield Chronicle, released for the PS4, PS5, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. This is a pretty neat one, but I think that it got a bad reputation somewhere down the line. It's probably just the case that most people are kind of used to that grid-based, turn-based combat, but Geofield is different. It plays much more akin to a real-time strategy game, something like Growlancer or Ogre Battle 64, where you move your 4 troops along lines and then they automatically attack whenever they reach the enemy. So in a way, you're more like a tactician, controlling their movements and using their skills as needed. It can be pretty fun, especially because of all the various obstacles that all the maps have and the different strategies that you're going to have to employ. The story's pretty neat too. What starts off as like a normal political intrigue storyline quickly evolves into a morality tale revolving around demonic arts and one of the most evil, bitchiest party members that I've ever had the pleasure of playing as. Number 7. Wargroove, released for the PS4, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Are you a fan of Advanced Wars? I am. This is a beautiful pixel art pirate-themed game where war breaks out on the island of Urania, and to quell it, you can play as one of 12 different commanders from 4 distinct warring factions, each with their own personalities and different motivations, so there is tons of replay value and customization to be had here. But not only does it play just like those Advance Wars games, but it also includes that wonderful map editor where you can create your own stages to share and play with your friends. I remember doing stuff like that back in the day on like Excitebike and Ice Climber for the NES. I loved it. And do be on the lookout for Wargroove 2 that's releasing soon as well. And hey there, if you like what I'm doing so far in this video, please go ahead and put a comment, like it, and be sure to subscribe. And now for number 6, Fire Emblem Engage, released for the Nintendo Switch. I don't know about y'all, but I play a Fire Emblem game in order to strategize, kick ass, and take names. I do not play a Fire Emblem game to run around a schoolhouse for a year and a day, blab with my underage students about their little teenage problems, so I do think that that's why I actually liked Engage so much more than Three Houses. It got rid of that social sim aspect, and instead really just focused on the battling, the overarching narrative, and the recruitment of your teammates. The game was created to introduce new players to the series, as well as being a love letter to players who've been with it for over 30 years, as you use your rings to summon heroes from past games to fight by your side once again. Number 5, Triangle Strategy, released for the Nintendo Switch and PC. This is a fun turn-based strategy game in the same vein as Tactics Ogre or Final Fantasy Tactics, but it's done for the modern age with fast forwarding, cutscene skips, tons of different characters, no generic units, and no permadeath, along with those gorgeous HD 2D graphics. And there are many points where the story branches out, with some chapters featuring as many as 4 different possible outcomes. Depending on who you choose to support, you're going to be set off to different regions, recruit different characters, and even get different endings. So it is a bit more story heavy, with exploration scenes and side quests peppered between each battle. And it can also be a bit verbose at times, but at the end of the day, this is a solid, great strategy RPG. Number 4, Marvel's Midnight Suns, released for the PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. This is actually a really cool one, and also one that I didn't think that I would like before I played it, but I heard so many good things about it that I just had to try it out, and I am so glad that I did. Here you're going to be building up your team of legendary superheroes, from the Avengers to the X-Men to more. I don't really follow this kind of stuff, so I'm actually not entirely sure where half these characters come from, but it really doesn't matter to me because I just had a boatload of fun engaging in customizable card-based battles and then moving around the environment to use the battlefield to my advantage. And while it does kind of suck that it didn't sell all that well, so we're probably never going to see a sequel, at least you can pick it up on the cheap now. Number 3, Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, released for the Nintendo Switch. The Advance Wars duology were some of the best strategy RPGs released on the juggernaut Game Boy Advance. They, along with Fire Emblem, pretty much ushered in an era of strategy RPGs that hasn't stopped to this day. And as we all know, nostalgia is strong, so they've gotten re-released as a package deal for the modern audience. If you don't know, Advance Wars are essentially Fire Emblem clones, but with their own twist. Instead of dealing with archers, cavalry, and sword fighters in a medieval era, you'll instead be commanding tanks, airplanes, and warships, all while fighting with rock, paper, scissors combat. Another fun inclusion that in today's day and age would probably just become DLC is that map-making mode that Wargroove had too. You can create and design your own maps, then share and play them against your friends too. So here, you're getting 2 great games for the price of 1, and that just can't be beat. Number 2, Arcadian Atlas, released for the PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. If you're anything like me, you think that the pinnacle of strategy RPGs is, again, Final Fantasy Tactics. And it looks like the development team here thought the same thing, and created this gem as an homage to it. Sporting 4 different difficulty modes, a story about a kingdom thrust into civil war after the king dies under mysterious circumstances, and then the lustful queen ascending to the throne, you now follow the story of 2 princesses sent into exile as they fight to regain their rightful place in the kingdom. There's many jobs to choose from here, and then skill trees to go through as well, so that each job is different. And, similar to the aforementioned Tactics Ogre, you have choices that actually matter, and the story will play out differently depending on what you choose. And finally, number 1, Felseal Arbiter's Mark, released for the PS4, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. As Final Fantasy Tactics pretty much set the standard for strategy RPGs for me, imagine my surprise whenever I heard about this spiritual successor to that great game. Shockingly enough, it was created by the same team who made that excellent Nintendo DS game, too bad it was just buggy as hell, Black Sigil Blade of the Exiled. So Fellseal is a turn-based isometric strategy RPG that takes the job system of Final Fantasy Tactics, retools and reimagines them, and also adds in quite a bit of challenge to boot. The overworld and map screens have beautifully hand-painted watercolor graphics. And if you're looking for a game to throw you back to a simpler time, along with 4 different difficulties to choose from, then these top 2 games right here are just what the doctor ordered. So that's it for the top 10 best modern strategy RPGs. Which ones do you think are the best? Let's get a discussion going on here, and let's all talk and chat about it, because I would love to hear what you have to say. And if you like what I do here on the channel, please head on over to the Patreon to sign up for early access to my videos and behind-the-scenes photographs. The link to it is over in the video description. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.